As a photographer, I constantly meet women that wish they were more beautiful. They'll say to me, change this, Raquez, fix this, smooth that. Or I'll catch them saying, oh, they're not beautiful, or they wish they could do this to their bodies or that, looking at this, comparing themselves. All of this pain. This made me realize that women face so much pressure just to feel like they're enough. So I decided to create the Shape campaign. Shape represents simply human advocating positivity everywhere. Shape, get it? So I launched a nationwide search and received submissions from all over the country, but only 7 proved to have what it takes. I want to take the diamond in the rough and make her shine brighter than ever. I'm looking for determination, creativity, confidence, and heart. Every size, every color, and every shape. And you better believe I don't shoot for the stars. I create them. Shape. Today, we are back with the Shape Campaign podcast. I am your host, Raquez Rouse, and today is all about quirkiness. It's all about things that are different. It's all about things that are unconventional. It's all about things that are not necessarily the standard. Maybe we call them rebels, or maybe we could just call them true life livers. Today is with me is Miss Anna DeMars. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
I like how she had to scoot up to the mic. I'm doing pretty well. That's what's up. Thank you so much for being a part of the Shape and for joining me here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. So before we get started with today's episode, I have an icebreaker that I would like to start us out with to kind of break the ice. You know what I'm saying? It's summer, but we're going to break up the ice anyway. So it's called Shape Shifters. Right? You ready? So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you'll have 15 seconds after each question begins to answer your question. All right? And then from there, we will move on to the next question. All right? Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So first question is, what's the best one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Don't listen to the teachers who try to discourage you from following your dreams.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Who, if any teacher, try to stop you?
Oh, a couple of them. Telling me, oh, that's not realistic. Mm-hmm. I'll leave it at that.
Understood. Got you. Next question is, which television character has inspired you the most?
That is a very good question. I'd say Daria Morgendorffer.
Now, I don't know who that is, so tell us about where that person is from and why did they inspire you?
Well, she was originally a background character on Beavis and Butthead, okay. But then she got her own little spin-off show. She was very sarcastic, monotone, and would just point things out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and her name is, say it one more time?
Daria Morgendorffer.
Daria Morgendorffer. That's a name right there. Okay, all right, next question. What is one song that has helped you to overcome a heartbreak?
This is a very good question.
I know, I made them. Of course, they're great questions. Oh, time's up. All right, we'll have to come back to that one maybe at the end. Next question. What is one song that makes you feel like that girl?
Material Girl.
Material Girl. Okay. Who is that by and why?
Madonna.
Oh, okay. Classic. So you like the classic song? Okay. I'm gonna have to. I don't know that one. I'm gonna have to look it up. Okay. But why? What about that song makes you feel like that girl?
Well, it's just a song about, like, you know, being glamorous, I guess being charming, mm-hmm. And it's just an overall fun song.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Material Girl. All right, next question. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
invisibility, because, it'd be kind of fun to eavesdrop a bit and maybe scare some people. Just start throwing things around the room.
Okay, so you would be mischievous with it. Okay,
Exactly.
I got you. Okay, understood. All right, next question. Oh, this is our final question, actually. This is the tricky one. I'm going to give you 10 seconds for this one. Only 10. What does the acronym SHAPE stand for?
Sassy, hip.
Time is up.
Hey, I had to improvise.
Well, I give you an E for effort. So now you're the second person that didn't get it right. So we'll quiz you on that, and maybe you'll figure it out. But anyway, Miss Anna DeMars, thank you so much for joining me today on season 3, episode 2 of the Shape Campaign podcast. How has this experience been for you?
It's been good. I was a little nervous the day of the photo shoot because I was worried, okay, maybe my dress isn't going to look right. Was worried my hair was going to be messed up. And I was worried about what I would look like on camera. But then I realized, wow, I actually do look good on camera. And it was really fun doing the photo shoot with you. And, being able to use humor, play music in the background to set the tone.
Yeah, and it's interesting because one of the things that I do as a photographer, I don't have a one-size-fits-all formula when it comes to working with people, because I feel like everyone has their own different thing that they bring, and whatever it might take to bring something out of someone, it might be different for the next person. So for you, I felt like you are more like alternative. When I think of you, when I think of Anna DeMars, I think of like this rock chick, like this chick that's just like, screw the old-fashioned conventional way of life. Not in a way of like being intentionally rebellious, but just marching to the beat of your own drum. Would you say that about yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I think of. So for me, it was like, I have to do something different for you. And so for the viewers and listeners, season 3, you haven't seen the final promo of what it looks like yet. So you're kind of talking about it based on your experience with it at the time of this recording. So when you see it, I think it'll be even more up your alley, because it fits that whole persona that I just described about you. So I'm excited for you to be able to witness that, So good answer. I know that you are from, is it Chazy, New York? Chazy. What was life like growing up in Chazy? Where is that? Is that upstate?
Yes, it's in upstate New York. It's located in the Champlain Valley.
Okay.
It's an hour south of Montreal. It's very rural. Lots of cows, cornfields, and apple orchards. Just small town, not much going on. And as a kid, I'm like, I don't want to live here forever. I want to go to New York City.
So you said it's an hour from Quebec, the south of Quebec, right?
Montreal. The Quebec border was only 10 miles away.
Got you. Okay, so you almost were Canadian. How does that feel? Because that's like, everybody wants to be, well, I don't want to be Canadian, but I know there are people that want to be Canadian, so.
Well, I did have some ancestry in Quebec, and they had moved from France to Quebec, then down into New York and Vermont.
Okay, got you.
Very close to being a Canadian.
You're very that close. So when did you move to North Carolina?
I moved to North Carolina a little over 5 years ago because I had a job offer.
Gotcha. Was it like culture shock for you? Because we don't get like the snow and stuff like you get there and all that.
A little bit. I had spent ages 12 to 26 in Connecticut.
Okay.
That wasn't much of a culture shock from upstate New York. But moving down here from that, the Northeast region, it's like a lot of, vernacular. I'd be like, okay, what does that mean? And people would tell me what it means. And one big culture shock I had that I was not prepared for were people asking me, oh, how are you not married? Because I don't want to be. So that was a little strange.
How did that make you feel? Do you still get asked that, or that was like in the past when you first moved here?
Oh, I still get asked that, but now I just give them sarcastic responses if they really push that. Well, how are you not married?
Do you feel like they're judging you because you're not married? And what's your age?
I'm 31.
Okay, that's still pretty young to not be married, right? Like, that's not old.
It's some people might be judging me, but I think most, they're just baffled or something.
Do you want to be married?
No.
Okay, so that's good enough of a reason to not be married.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Now, tell me about your childhood. Tell me about what life was like for Anna growing up. I know you moved here about 5 or 6 years ago, so you probably weren't a child then, but before you moved to North Carolina, what was life like for you?
Well, my childhood, it was not the happiest childhood. It's like, yeah, I have fond memories playing Barbies with my friends and my sister, but my home life from birth till 10, not so much. The only thing I'll just say is there's a lot of domestic violence, and I was pretty much elated when I was 10 when my mom left her ex-husband.
Was that your father or just your stepdad?
It was my father.
Your father, okay. Got you. Are you close with your father?
No. I cut off contact with him when I was 14, and I never looked back.
Never looked back. Got you. How do you feel like your upbringing shaped you as a woman today?
Well, the first thing I do is, if I were to be in a relationship with anyone, I make it clear, you put your hands on me, you're out that door.
Absolutely.
And then if a kid is telling me, hey, this, and this are happening at home, I'm going to listen to them and go through the proper channels to get them help.
Do you feel like your mom was very vocal in expressing her boundaries with your father, and did she protect you as a child? I know you had mentioned domestic violence, and then we don't have to get too deep into it, but what exactly was her response to that, especially you seeing that type of behavior?
She did not put up with his mess. Like, she would be like, look, we have to go grocery shopping, or you need to get it together. And a few times she did call the police, but the laws at that time were like, okay, sir, just go for a walk.
So they really didn't do much of anything about it.
No, and then when she had left, that was like a nonverbal cue to be like, look, someone treats you like that, you get away from them or you kick them out.
Yeah, and I understand that you said that you wanted to work on you being more assertive. Talk about that.
Well, in childhood, between just seeing that, it kind of makes you keep quiet, because when I'd go to school, I'd keep quiet about what was really going on at home. And then when I was in kindergarten, I was just quiet. I kept to myself, but I play with all the other kids. I'm guessing my kindergarten teacher didn't like my independent streak. Long story short, they threw me in the special ed because I was supposedly bad at math. When I was 6 years old, you just stink at your job. And when I was
The
thrown
teacher was stinks at her
yeah,
job. Okay.
not you.
No, I got what you're saying. What I'm saying, I would to clarify for the viewers and listeners, like, so you're saying the teacher, they were not teaching in a way that you felt like was effective. So
Yes,
it was
and they
reflecting in your performance pretty much. Okay, gotcha.
and they threw me in remedial math, and I got thrown in special ed. When in special ed, mainly back then,
Mhm.
it would just be, oh, you can't, oh, and no, you need to act like this, not like that. And mind you, all my teachers, except that one, had no issues with me in class.
Mhm.
And that just makes you want to be quiet and just follow directions. And by the time I hit high school, I really started seeing, okay, I don't belong in this program, and was getting a little more vocal with what problems were going on,
Mhm.
or whether it was with a class or with a teacher. But I also knew, okay, I still need to keep quiet though, so I don't get myself in trouble. And it's been a process of unlearning a lot of these, what would it be called?
Uh, I wouldn't say bad behaviors, but learn bad habits, maybe.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And I started getting a bit more assertive
Mhm.
as I got older.
Mhm. Now,
'Cause-
do you feel like it went from assertion to aggression?
No,
Okay.
I don't think I've ever gotten to the point of aggressiveness unless I felt my life was in immediate danger.
Mhm.
But I've noticed, okay, I tend to be a little too nice, like mainly in the work environment.
Mhm.
And it has people, stepping all over me. And over the years, I ended up getting a bit more stern, less sweet, and it's actually started working out well. And some people get taken aback.
Give me an example of a scenario, just so that I can have some perspective on what you're talking about, of how you became more assertive.
Well, it really started happening when I joined the workforce, and I had worked in a fast food joint. And I somehow got promoted to shift manager because they were desperate. And I would be very polite with everyone, but people were not listening. And my general manager took me aside and said, Anna, be more assertive. Even if they walk off the floor, you're not going to get in trouble. And I really started to get a bit more stern with some people on the crew. Like, hey, we need to get these out of the drive-through so the line doesn't get backed up onto the street.
Now, how has that? Because I tend to believe that when you do things like that, which can be a challenge for some, it can empower you to make you feel better about yourself. How has it changed your own self-esteem by being more assertive?
It's raised it because whenever my tone of voice changes to a serious, stern tone, the people, they stop talking and they either do what they have to do or they get away from me. They don't end up treating me like a doormat. And at worst, they just tell me, oh, you need to knock off the attitude. Okay.
See, that's why I asked you about, is it becoming more of aggressive versus assertion? Tell me about Sassafras. Who is that?
That isn't her nickname.
Okay.
Because when I was in college, There was an office I would hang out in. It was mainly for tutoring and academic support.
Sure.
I sat at a table with some friends, and I'm being myself, being a bit sarcastic, mouthy, in a joking manner. And this lady at the desk named Carolyn had said to me one day, "Anna, you are so sassy. I'm going to start calling you Sassafras." And the name stuck.
Well, I mean, hey, I think it sounds like you've worked on that, developing that skill. And I think the Sassafras is a kind of a cute little nickname to give someone. Has this persona that you have grown into, is this a place where you like to see yourself as? Are you working on becoming even more outspoken, or
Yes.
you are? Okay. Tell me about what steps you're taking to do that.
Steps I've taken to do it is, as I've gotten older, I don't really care if someone ends up hating me for being myself or telling them to stop with whatever their mess is. And I'm like, okay, I don't care if we work together. I'm not going to be letting you walk all over me. Or maybe I'm in my house, and someone starts knocking on the door trying to sell me a vacuum cleaner. I'm going to politely but sarcastically tell them, "I'm not interested. Go, we already have a vacuum in this house." "Oh, but ma'am, these are Kirby vacuums." "I don't care. My Dyson is good enough. Now leave."
So, okay. So, switching gears a little bit. So, with the Shape campaign, what about the Shape campaign made you want to be a part of it?
Well, I was looking at different modeling jobs and campaigns on the All Casting website. The Shape campaign caught my eye because it said, like, body positivity, inclusiveness. And I did a bit of research and I said, okay, I'm going to put in my application for this because, well, it's changed in the past decade, but a lot of models you see, they're all the same cookie cutter type of person. And the most diversity you see would be, it's just, okay, they may have different skin tones, but they all got the same body type, same aesthetic. And Shape campaign, it's all different looking people. Some are all glamour, nice hair, or some, covered in tattoos.
Was there any apprehension that you had about being a part of this?
The only apprehension I had was, I have to drive all the way to Durham.
Okay. So that's a fair assessment. Has this experience been what you expected, or has it been less or more?
It was a bit more than what I expected.
How so?
Because when I came to the photo shoot, I was just expecting, sit in that waiting room and, not much going on and just pose for photos. Well, it ended up being talking a bit with the other models in the waiting room, whether it was about a ride there or ride here or what we've been up to. And then during the photo shoot, music playing, let out Sassafras.
It's truly an experience. And I think that's one of the things that I really emphasize about Shape is that it's the photo shoot from the beginning to really to this part where we're doing the interview and everything. I really want to make it an immersive experience. Something that you not only see the final product, but when you look at the image, you'll remember all of the amazingness that went into it that really just made it even more. To me, the photo was like the cherry on top. The experience itself is really what the meat and potatoes is of the whole entire campaign. So I'm glad you enjoyed it. This is what it sounds like. I understand that you suffer from PTSD.
Yes.
Talk about that.
It stems from the childhood.
Mhm.
It's gotten better over the years, but I tend to jump if someone sneaks up behind me or I hear, when you fall asleep, but you end up having some auditory hallucinations because you're almost dreaming.
Describe that. I'm not sure.
It's like when you're in that state of half asleep, half awake, and everything sounds louder.
Okay.
And sometimes you could be drifting off into a dreaming state.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll hear like a whisper, and that's when I jump because I think he's there.
Like your dad.
Yes.
Oh wow.
But then when my body fully wakes up, I'm like, oh, there's no one here, just me and the lizards.
So why is it a whisper though? Would he whisper to you?
Yes. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. So we'll leave the viewers and audience to kind of fill in the rest on that part. But yeah, so he would whisper and okay.
And then if I hear people getting loud, like with people getting into a confrontation, I start slowly backing away, not just because, common sense, because you don't want to be in the line of fire.
Right.
But it's like, okay, this sounds like a fight happening in the kitchen. I'm going to get out of here.
So it's kind of like, even if it's not even people that you know, just conflict in general, it just makes you get angst and nervous almost, right?
Yeah, and I don't like it when people come up to me and start hollering, but I've gotten better with back up. Don't be yelling in my face. I'm right here. You got to say something, just say it right here. And I tend to keep calm.
Right. Do you feel like you're almost like paranoid? Is that because I noticed even when you walked into the studio today, I noticed that you look around a lot and you're like, maybe you're just really curious, but do you feel like it makes you kind of like on edge?
Yeah, I'm a bit more hyper vigilant. Like just observing my surroundings, making sure no one's in the corner, and then just general common sense.
Does it make you leery of people like that you meet when you first meet them? Like you don't trust people as easily?
A little bit, but I've gotten better probably since I graduated college. It's because I'm like, okay, most people aren't going to do anything to me, but I still use caution, especially if it's at night in a parking lot and someone approaches me.
Have you taken therapy to overcome the PTSD?
A little bit, but it wasn't overly helpful for me. What I noticed helped me was having a full-time job and being able to be fully independent and not having to.
That helped you overcome PTSD?
Yes.
How do you feel like it helped you?
Because it made me feel like I was in control.
Okay.
Because, I had my own income, my own place, and not having to rely on someone else.
Okay.
And that was kind of like what my abuser would do, trying to control me and kind of mentally beating me down.
And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. That's tough, especially, I know you said 14 is when you were finally free from that. Well, physically, but mentally, it sounds like it went on beyond that. Do you feel like you've truly, well, I know the PTSD is something you still challenged with, but do you feel like you fully recover from it?
Mostly. And I told myself, if he showed up at my front door, I don't have to let him in at all. Which we hope that never happens.
Would you want to know why he did those things to you? Has that ever been something you wanted to at least find an closure to?
And no.
Okay.
I'm like, no, I know why he did it, because he's sick.
What'd your mom say? Did she know about the abuse and things?
Oh, yeah, when she found out that, she went off. She made dead sure he'd never go near us again. He's very lucky the cops got to him before she did.
So she had no idea, and
she did not know.
Okay.
If she did, she would have left a lot sooner, and of course pressed charges.
Gotcha. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's your guy Quest here. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Shape Campaign podcast. And as a quick reminder, please be sure to check out all of our exclusive interviews from the rest of our Shapecast, as well as the promotional rollout at raquezrouse.com. And for more exclusive behind the scenes stuff that you may have not gotten to see, at my Instagram handle at mr.raquezrouse. That's Mr. Raquez Rouse. Now back to the show.
We are back. I am with the amazing Anna DeMars. Am I saying your last name right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. It looks like it's spelled, but I'm just trying to make sure. So I know you were telling me during the break that you are still trying to get used to this whole interview thing. So talk about your feelings right now about that.
Well, I'm a bit nervous with how this could be seen by the whole planet, maybe some aliens orbiting. I'm not used to interviews like this. And I'm working on getting better with it, especially with going into modeling and acting.
Yeah, I know before we began taping today, you were very apprehensive, well, at least it came across that way, about, the flow of the conversation. And I told you, only share what you feel comfortable with, because I think while I admire and respect your confidentiality in certain regards, as aspects, I think it is important to be authentic so that people that may be able to relate to you can maybe gain something, help. I do think, especially with being the Shape campaign, that's the entire purpose of it. It's about representation and inclusivity. And I think that that's very important. When women and people see other versions of themselves, they don't feel so alone. So use this as your platform to inspire not only other people, but inspire yourself to do something that you may have not thought you could ever really find the courage or strength to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So moving forward a little bit, so you said that you began having suicidal thoughts at the age of 8.
Yes.
And I can imagine that they may be related to, or it could have been like a side effect of what you went through as a child and the abuse and everything. Can you talk about how you overcame that? I know you made an attempt. Was that at 8 that you made the attempt, or later in life?
A little later. I don't want to go into detail about it. But it was related to abuse and feeling like, okay, there's no way out. But around 15, when I went no contact with that one family member, I'm like, you know what? My life still kind of sucks, but I'm going to live out of spite. And after that, I didn't really have that many suicidal thoughts. At most, it's in the back of my mind, but it's not like an actual, how do I put it? Not an actual threat to my well-being. It's just one of those intrusive thoughts that come in on occasion.
Even now to today?
Sometimes, but not as badly.
So what's your safe way out? How do you kind of escape that intrusive thought that comes that you don't want to have that thought clearly, but how do you overcome that with a powerful thought?
I tell myself, no, you don't want to die in this part of your life. You want to be able to actually live your life, do things, keep going until you start to deteriorate.
Mhm.
As in, I'll keep going until I drop. Hopefully that'll be when I'm 70, I'm out at a bar drinking, and then just drop. I'd rather my obituary say, yeah, she was drinking her Jack and Sprite and just dropped on the floor.
Mhm.
She was pretty old.
So you want to go out with a bang, pretty much. But I feel like 70 is still kind of young. So why set like 100? Go
Well,
for
I don't
100.
want to live to be 100 if I end up getting dementia.
Okay.
I like all my mental faculties in order.
Well, you'll have all of that, but give yourself more time. You're like cutting yourself 30 years short, you know?
Okay, if I live to 100 and have all my mental faculties in order
Uh-huh.
and can control my bodily functions,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine with me. Go to the bar and they'll be like, are you sure you should be drinking this at 100? Yes.
That's hilarious. What is something that the world should know about Anna as a because we've talked about a lot. Like we've had about 30 to 40 minutes just to talk about your life, but that still doesn't encompass all of who you are. Where are you headed now in life?
Well, from my observations and analysis, I'm headed in a good direction. I got accepted by a well-known talent agency, and I'm going for modeling and acting like I've always wanted.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it seems my life is slowly getting better because a few months ago I moved into my new house, and that made it easier because I'm no longer sharing walls and can do a bit more with practicing my model walk or doing a monologue. And it seems it's just things are going the way I want them to. Okay, most of the time. And all because I decided I'm going to do it. I want to have a job that I like, not one I'm doing just for survival. And just being able to live. I don't want to be 60 years old and waking up one morning I wasted my life at a job that I hate, and never really lived.
So living, it sounds like truly living everything that you dream. And it sounds like to me that your dreams were stifled as a child because of the awful things that happened to you. So you really didn't get that pure essence of being able to dream and just have this beautiful golden view of life because it was so painful before.
Yes.
And now it's like you're slowly but surely recanting all that time and with the time that you have, and you're still very young, so I don't want to say the time you have left, but with the time that you have to live and do everything that your heart desires. Does that sound right? About right?
Yes, and another thing I'm doing is I took up an instrument.
Okay.
And I'm slowly learning it because it's a process. And the guy who's teaching me is very patient. And so I'm excited for that. Even if it's just an instrument I play in my house, I don't care. I always wanted to take up an instrument.
What instrument is it?
The bass guitar.
The bass guitar. Okay. Is this the guy from your job? I know we talked about.
He's not the teacher.
Okay.
But he knows I took up bass guitar, and he's like, okay, here is the circle of fifths.
Okay.
And make sure your instrument's in tune.
So he's kind of like encouraging you to keep at it.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Do you have a lot of friends here in the area?
I have a few, but when COVID hit, that kind of did a slammed on the brakes for my social life because I did not want anyone's germs. But once it kind of dwindled down, I started making more connections, whether it was like in person, because last Halloween, I went to the bar crawl in Raleigh and struck up a conversation with other people dressed like Harley Quinn. And then at work, like when I'm able to talk to people, I find out, okay, there's a few people here who have the same interest. So stuff like that.
Is it hard for you or is it easy for you to make connections with people?
It is.
It is, okay.
It's just finding the time to hang out with them because my work schedule and then, trying to do a career shift and having to take my classes.
That was a silly question on my part because I could see how amazing it would be and easy to make friends and acquaintance with you. You have this, it's like you're so interesting, and when you speak, you keep locked eye contact with the person the entire time. So you're very engaging, and you're animated. Even when you did the stomp the brakes with your foot like that. All of those little things about you. That's why I say with this episode, it's about the quirkiness and unconventionality of people, because it's like everyone is different. And I think that everyone's communication style is different. And when you find that niche of people that identify with the way you communicate, it's like there's nothing else better than that, in my opinion.
Oh, I get that a lot. I have another coworker. And they say it in a good way. They're like, Anna, you are something else.
But it's like, that's a Southern thing too. Because they don't know what to say, they say you something else. But that's a great thing because it's like, wow, words can't describe how amazing that you are. Absolutely. Before we get out of here, what is the one last thing that you want to say to anyone watching or listening?
Unless it is going to hurt somebody else, go follow your dreams. Don't let somebody in authority tell you, oh, that's not realistic, or why would you do that? Just be yourself. Go do what you want that makes you happy. Like, look at me. I'm 31 years old. And I started listening to my heart, got all the ink I wanted, wear whatever outfits I like. And I am much happier not being a cookie cutter person.
Well said. Well said. There we have it. Miss Anna DeMars, thank you so much for being a part of the Shape campaign. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for inspiring me and many others. And I wish all the best for you, and keep going.
Okay, you're welcome.
We'll see you later.
Stay tuned for our next episode. Shape.